What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to analyze the tape of the Dallas Cowboys offensive line against the Cleveland Browns, specifically with the rookie offensive linemen in Tyler Guyton as well as Cooper Beebe. But we'll also check in on some of the other guys as well. Tyler Smith had a phenomenal game, like usual, and to me, the Dallas Cowboys offensive line is pretty much back on par with what it was 2 years ago. But the one thing you do have to factor into the Cowboys is they do technically have two rookies, and that is going to impact the offensive line. They're going to have losing snaps. It's just what it is. But you got the first play of the game here. Tyler Guyton is going to do a pretty damn good job. Look at him reach to the linebacker, takes a beautiful angle, ends up getting to the left side of number 58 here. To me, this is a really, really good block right here. For a rookie offensive lineman to be able to take this angle that he takes, gets out in front of 58, and he seals him off. That's a really good job right there. And the play is a pretty nicely designed play, but it does come back on an offensive holding call. Not a huge deal. Let's go ahead and get to the next snap. So this is the second snap of the game. You guys keep an eye on Myles Garrett and Tyler Guyton. Garrett's going to do a really good job being able to hit the edge. He's going to rip. He's going to be able to kind of collapse the pocket from that side. And then you're also going to see that Zach Martin ends up losing this snap to Dalvin Tomlinson, who's a pretty good defensive tackle in the NFL. You can see Tomlinson's going to be able to kind of toss Martin here, and then he ends up generating pressure to the middle, and he cleans it up. One of the things that we do have to recognize is that with Guyton specifically, he's going to have losing snaps. With guys like Cooper Beebe, he might not 100% be able to handle guys today in one-on-one situations. And there's going to be losing snaps, right? There's going to be hiccups, especially against good defensive lines. The Browns have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. And generally speaking, I felt like the Cowboys did a pretty good job. They're able to keep the quarterback clean. They're able to run the ball effectively. You know, it wasn't great running the football, but I think for kind of what the Cowboys have at the running back position, I felt like the guys did a pretty good job. Keep an eye on Tyler Smith on this one. Number 90 here is going to try to cross his face towards the inside. He's going to get the left hand to try to use that to cross. And this works oftentimes against guys that are slower, but guys like Tyler Smith who have good recovery ability, they have good footwork and movement, they're able to dominate, right? So that's a really, really good job by Tyler Smith to be able to change direction as number 90 tries to cross, and then he just kind of washes him downwards. And you see the running back picks up 9 yards on this one. It's a pretty nice job. Let's get into the next snap. One of the things I noticed from this game is Terrence Steele looks very, very quick, very explosive, and he looks good. He looks back to the form that we had seen about 2 years ago before he tore his ACL. And against the Browns, he had a lot of really good reps. Here's one against Myles Garrett. Look at how explosive he is. Look at how quick he is out of his stance. Quickly sets up in that 45-degree set. Forces Myles Garrett up the field. It is a quick throw, but you'll also see on the other side, Tyler Guyton's going to struggle here a little bit. He has to clean the technique up. He has to be able to make contact better than what he ultimately does here. You know, the circle technique is something guys use, and that's okay. It's a technique that I think is all right to use. But if you're going to bring those hands underneath, you got to make sure that you don't give the inside up. You got to make sure that that right hand lands at least further to the outside, where when the defensive end with the left hand tries to pull you forward or push you towards the side, that right hand is powerful enough to stop this guy without being called for a hold. I mean, this right here could be called a hold. It obviously isn't. But that's just a bad rep right there by Tyler Guyton. And I talked about this already in the preseason. This is what you're going to get out of Tyler Guyton. He's going to have losing snaps early on in his career, but over the course of his career, he's going to get a lot better. Also, he's going to struggle against guys that are power-based. He'll be a lot better against guys that are speed-based. So guys like number 54 here of the Cleveland Browns, who's a speed rusher as opposed to a power rusher, this is a better matchup for Guyton. Guyton's more likely to be able to shut this guy down, as opposed to Myles Garrett, right? Myles Garrett's power-based. Micah Parsons is also speed-based, right? So Tyler Guyton's a better matchup to go up against Micah Parsons than he is Myles Garrett. But he did have some good reps that we'll kind of get into over the course of this video. Cooper Beebe, on the other hand, also had a really, really good game given the situation. Now, before we go forward, I want to just give a big shout out to the sponsor of this channel, and I want to share with you guys my Week 2 picks with Underdog Fantasy, because pickup is the best game when it comes to fantasy football. I want to share with you guys my picks and kind of the thought process behind these picks. So we got 5 picks. We're putting $10 on it, and the payout is $202.50. So Underdog's going to give you one pick for free, which is this week happens to be CeeDee Lamb. Essentially, he just needs half a yard. So that one's free, but then some of these other ones, you know, some people are in a question a little bit. Let's talk about Alvin Kamara. Last week, Alvin Kamara had a pretty big game. 15 carries, 83 yards and a touchdown, 5 catches, 27 yards. I think Derek Carr checks the ball down a lot, and I think with that, Alvin Kamara should be able to, if not run it in for a touchdown, he should be able to catch it for a touchdown. Now, I do think the Dallas Cowboys have phenomenal linebackers. DeMarvin Overshown looked really, really good this past week. Eric Kendricks was all over it. So that might make it a little hard for Kamara, but I also think the Cowboys will be up, so the Saints will be playing from behind. Another guy that I think should hit this week is going to be Gardner Minshew. Passing yards, basically, he just needs 203.5 yards or more. And the reason why I take this one is because Gardner Minshew has some pressure on him. Last week he had 257 yards, and honestly, it didn't even look good, right? Watching that game was kind of sad, but he had a lot of checkdowns and a lot of those type of things, but he still had 250 yards, and I think 203 yards is something he should be able to do now. Obviously, this is going to be in Baltimore. It's an away game. The Ravens' defense is really, really good as well, but I still think that with Gardner Minshew having that pressure, they're going to want to push the ball downfield. I'm going to take higher on that. And then Derrick Henry. We're going to take lower on Derrick Henry. Will he have at least 73 rushing yards? I'm going to take lower, specifically because I think the Raiders defense is good against the run. And I know if you look at the stats, it might not say that. But if you guys watch the tape, the Raiders on the defensive side did a really, really good job. The Chargers actually had like 170 yards, but 130 of those 170 yards essentially came on 4 carries. Outside of those 4 carries, the other 23 carries basically went for 2 yards per attempt. And Derrick Henry doesn't look like the same running back either. At least I didn't feel like he did. So I'm going to take the lower on Derrick Henry. 73 yards or less, I'm going to take the lower. And then finally, Cooper Kupp. 7.5 receptions. I'm going to take the higher on that. Cooper Kupp last week, man, 21 targets. That's absolutely incredible. Remember, Matthew Stafford has that connection with Kupp. Plus, we don't know if Nakua is going to play. I'm pretty sure he's out. So, kind of talks about the targets, and I think Kupp will end up getting more targets because of that. Not more than 21, but he'll get a lot of targets. So, 7.5 receptions. I'm going to take the higher on that. With that, there's your guys' payout. I'm going to go ahead and confirm that. Now, if you guys are interested in your own picks, there's a link down in the comments below. Now, always play responsibly and never bet more money than you're willing to lose. Let's go ahead and get right back into the video. Cooper Beebe, on the other hand, also had a really, really good game given the situation. Rookie center, starting, first game of his NFL career against a good front, right? Against a really, really good front seven. He had a lot of good reps where he was able to climb up to the second level. He was able to find the guy he had to block, and he was able to make contact and stick to the block, right? I think as a center, one of the most important parts of your blocks, it's not necessarily getting up to the guy, because I think most centers can do that. It's actually staying attached to guys. So the center here has a very easy reach block on number 58, but then you got to stay attached. And I think that's one of the things Cooper Beebe does a really good job at. And I think as a former guard, he's kind of built that power and strength as well. But generally speaking, I felt like Beebe had a pretty good game. There were some questionable slides and things that I wasn't really sure exactly what happened. This was one of those plays. The pass here is a beautiful pass by Dak Prescott. I mean, he throws this ball before the wide receiver in the slot here is even breaking into his route. Look at Dak Prescott here. He's pressured. He throws the ball right here, right? You see Dak Prescott throwing the ball. Brandon Cooks hasn't even hit his break yet, and the defender's even still like 4 or 5 yards in front of Cooks. And you can just see that Dak Prescott and Cooks have that connection, right? Prescott knows exactly where Cooks is going to be. That's a really, really nicely thrown pass right there by Dak Prescott. But to me, one of the interesting things with this play is that Dak Prescott's going to actually keep the tight end in here. And then more than that, you can see that there should be at least one offensive lineman for every single defensive guy here. But what's going to end up happening is both Zach Martin and Beebe are going to actually slide to the same guy. Now, I'm not sure why this happens. Tyler Smith ends up taking the one technique here. And you're going to see 58's going to end up going free, with the left tackle taking the defensive end out here. So to me, I'm not sure exactly what happens on the inside there. I think there's an issue with the potential call. I think someone makes a mistake. I think it was Cooper Beebe, but I'm not 100% sure, right? Because what would have made sense here is, Zach Martin here is going to essentially slide towards the right? So Zach Martin's going to slide towards the right, but Tyler Smith also steps down. So again, I'm not really sure what happens on this one, because I think it would have naturally made sense to get to 58. But, again, I'm not 100% sure what happens. But Dak Prescott does a great job, right? He recognizes the coverage. It looks like it's some sort of cover zero, and he's able to just get the ball out. Really, really nice job. So one of the things with Beebe that you're going to recognize is he's a very, very smart player, and that's kind of true across the board for the Cowboys offensive line. Guys are very, very smart. They're well coached, and they would just work well together. To me, one of the things that I love to watch, especially with rookies, is how they kind of work with the guys next to them. So on this one here, watch Tyler Smith exchange the 3 technique defensive tackle. He's going to essentially pass him off to Beebe. It's an inside zone, so it makes sense that Cooper Beebe takes number 90 anyways based off the gap he goes into. But that's a good exchange, right? Tyler Smith's going to pass off number 90, and then he's going to climb up to 58, and he's going to end up getting to 58. To me, this is a really, really good job right here by those two guys, and this play popped for 8 yards. This was 3rd and 3, right? This is a moment you needed to pick that first down up, and it's just a great job by those two guys. And then even between Zach Martin and Terrence Steele, those two guys are going to pick up these two guys, and they do it perfectly as well, right? I don't have any questions about those two guys. Tyler Guyton is going to feel a little bit of physicality from Myles Garrett coming over here. 3rd and 3. And Tyler Guyton does a good job staying attached to Myles Garrett. Not that Garrett would have made this play anyways, but I do like the fact that when Tyler Guyton sets up to Garrett, he tries to get underneath Garrett. And that's kind of what you want within this play. So Garrett is not able to get underneath that in case the running back bounces it towards the outside. In this case, he doesn't. He actually bends it back towards the inside. But it's a good job by Tyler Guyton nonetheless. You can see Myles Garrett kind of tries throwing him a little bit here, being physical with him. And I talk about Myles Garrett and that physicality because one of the criticisms I have for Tyler Guyton is he is going to have to get stronger, right? He's going to have to put that work in. And again, it's not like he can put that effort and work in during the season. He has to be able to do that during the offseason. On this play here, Myles Garrett's going to do a great job setting the edge. And you can see the running back has no room anywhere to go. So essentially, as a tackle on a zone run towards your side, what you want to do is you want to try to take Myles Garrett and push him outwards. Now, understand Myles Garrett's the greatest player in the NFL on the defensive side right now, right? There's no question about that. He's in his own tier. And this is something that's going to be very difficult for any tackle to do. In fact, 99.9% of tackles will not be able to properly generate movement on Garrett. But against other defensive linemen, Guyton's going to have to kind of do the same thing, right? He's going to have to make contact with guys. And essentially what you want him to do is make contact with the guy and push him out towards the right as far as you can. So if you keep an eye on Tyler Smith here, look at how he moves number 42 here. Look at him drive 42 towards the right. It's not a lot of movement, but those 3 or 4 yards that Tyler Smith does move number 42 here, that right there creates a bigger gap on the inside. So when Myles Garrett, on the other hand, sets the edge on Tyler Guyton here, what's happening is the running back's lane is actually not going to be as wide, right? Because this is essentially where the edge is being set. So at this point, the running back has to either cut it back or potentially find a gap in between one of these other gaps. And again, this is not a huge deal because I do think Tyler Guyton will continue to get stronger as he continues to develop. But I do want to criticize him because I am actually a big Tyler Guyton fan. If this is the first time you guys are on this channel, Guyton's a guy that I've spoken to multiple times in the past. I was huge on him in the draft process. I had him ranked as my number 3 overall offensive tackle, but he does have to develop, and that's something we are not going to overlook. Overall, Tyler Guyton had an okay game. It really wasn't that great. He had probably like 5 or 6 losing snaps against Garrett specifically, which, it's expected. And here's one where he's going to ultimately give up the sack, and you're going to end up losing 7 yards. I'm okay with these plays. At the end of the day, Tyler Guyton's in a true one-on-one with the best player in the NFL, right? He's in a one-on-one. And to me, when you think about this situation here, a rookie's never going to beat Myles Garrett. But these are learning reps, right? These are reps where he's going to get better. He's going to recognize that, hey, maybe I didn't get far enough in my set. Maybe I went too far towards Garrett. Maybe I should have gotten more vertical. Maybe I should have gotten to my landmark faster. Maybe the hand placement isn't perfect. Personally, I don't think it's the hand placement. I think he just doesn't hit his landmark. You can see as soon as he actually makes contact with Garrett, you can see that the helmet's going to be on the back side. And with Garrett, the thing is he's strong enough that when Garrett's going to rip with the left arm the way he does right there, he has the power to lean into you and push you back. And on this one here, he's going to be able to get to the quarterback. He's going to knock the ball out of the quarterback's hands. And to me, again, this is on Guyton, right? Guyton has to do a better job. But again, these are learning reps. I think the Dallas Cowboys on every single play should have been doing this right here. Watch the tight end on this one. Watch the tight end hit Myles Garrett. That should be happening on every single play, right? There's no reason why you should not be double teaming the best player in the NFL. There, you guys, keep an eye on Cooper Beebe on this one. I think he's going to run the wrong way on this screen pass. Not 100% sure exactly what happens, but this play was in the second quarter with 6 minutes left. The play still picks up 9 yards, right? So it's not a terrible play, but I'm surprised he ran the wrong way, right? It's like basic stuff. But I guess it could also have been designed potentially. I'm not 100% sure if maybe the pass could have went to CeeDee Lamb, but I don't think that's what this play was. But again, it's interesting nonetheless, right, that this kind of happened. But Tyler Smith does a phenomenal job. If you guys keep an eye on number 73 here, watch him pick off number 58, the linebacker. 58 might have been able to make this play from the backside, but Smith gets his hands on him right there. That's a great job right there by Smith. Zeke also makes the corner there miss, and he ends up picking up about 9 yards. Pretty nice job on 2nd and 5. Let's get into the next snap. Now I want to just show you guys what it should look like when you have a zone run towards your side and you're blocking out. This one's going up against number 99, who's obviously a lot different than Myles Garrett. And you can see Tyler Guyton's going to be able to push him out of there, right? And this one ends up being a 3-yard touchdown. Not that the running back would have, bounced this or potentially hit this towards the outside. But you can see Guyton generating movement on number 99 here. And again, number 99's 258 pounds. So it's going to be a lot different than Myles Garrett, who's 280 pounds. It's a lot stronger than most defensive ends. But again, this is a good job by Guyton. So Guyton knows what he's supposed to do. It's just a matter of being able to do it against a guy like Myles Garrett. Again, not a huge deal, so it's a pretty nice job right there. Let's go ahead and get to the next snap. Check out the power on this one by Cooper Beebe. He's going to do a really good job anchoring down against number 93. He just straight up stonewalls this guy. He gives up like 1 yard in depth, if that, from the time he actually makes contact with this guy. They land to the inside chest plate. Perfect hand placement, and you see that anchor get dropped right there. I mean, that's phenomenal by Cooper Beebe. Now, on this one here, Terrence Steele is going to end up losing to Smith. You got to do a better job if you're a Terrence Steele. You cannot give up a sack on 3rd and 7. Kind of an interesting play because it is only a 3-step drop, so I'm not 100% sure exactly what the play was. But you guys can see it on this side. It could have been some sort of design play to CeeDee Lamb. It looks like Dak Prescott, right out of his stance, is going to look over here towards the right. So keep an eye on Dak. He's going to take 3 steps. He's going to look to the right. Generally, when it's a 3-step drop, you're supposed to get the ball out. And he doesn't. And maybe this is where he was supposed to go. Maybe he was supposed to quickly get the ball out. He obviously didn't like what he saw there, so he doesn't throw the ball. And then maybe his second read is to come back over here and look at CeeDee Lamb, who's running some sort of whip route. Not 100% sure what happens. Obviously, the quarterback just didn't have the time either. Terrence Steele lost pretty quickly. But again, I'm not 100% sure if the ball should have came out because it is a 3-step drop, right? So generally when it's a 3-step drop, that means it's a quick read, it's a quick pattern. But again, not 100% sure. Terrence Steele still has to be able to hold up. Let's go ahead and get into the next snap. So Tyler Smith, we haven't really talked too much about him. We looked at a couple snaps so far, but on tape, Tyler Smith is perfect, man. He's probably the best guard in the NFL at this point. The way this guy moves, he moves faster. He looks stronger. The guy's a bully, man. The guy's really, really, really good. And that stuff, it's just clear, right? It's very, very clear. He passes off defensive line games with so much confidence. He has the power to move people. Right on this one here, 72 is supposed to attack the inside of Tyler Guyton. And Smith's going to straight up push this guy into Guyton, and he's not going to be able to gain the leverage. And then with that, he quickly comes back towards the inside. The footwork, everything about it is just perfect. Tyler Smith is absolutely incredible, man. Phenomenal, phenomenal football player. Probably the best guard in my opinion. Let's go ahead and get to the next snap. So earlier, I showed you guys a snap in which Tyler Guyton used the circle technique, right? He brought the arms underneath. And he ended up getting tossed by number 99, or at least he kind of got pushed upwards. On this one, Guyton does a pretty good job being able to recover. So he at least lost on the first one, and he kind of understood to how to win. So to me, that's improvement right there. Let me show it to you guys from the all 22 angle. You guys will probably see it a little bit more clear on this angle. So you can see Tyler Guyton's going to bring the hands underneath. The DN's going to push Guyton upwards and try to come underneath. And look at Guyton move the feet. You see that right foot gets picked up, and look at him just recover and get right underneath the defensive end. He keeps the quarterback clean on this one. All right, so it's a good job right there by Guyton to not get pushed upwards and essentially give the inside leverage. Again, the one thing when you bring the hands underneath, the one thing that you can lose at when you do that is guy could hit you with an inside move. He could force you upwards, right? Because it's different when you punch a guy with the hand It's a little bit different than when you bring the hands underneath and you're trying to lock in, right? It's not as aggressive. And essentially, you don't have as much power behind that punch, right? So again, just the little things that Guyton has to continue to work on and really just, have those losing snaps where he's able to see what he kind of did and then develop from it, right? Tyler Guyton's obviously a very smart player. And he's well coached as well, so far at least, right, from a technique standpoint. But at this point, I think he just has to continue to get stronger, and that'll be the one thing that'll allow this guy to, really become an all-pro caliber player. He just has to put on weight. He just has to put on that strength. From a technique perspective, man, you see it. Like this play right here is a good example of that as well. So you got a zone run, and just the way he makes contact with his defensive end, the hand placement's perfect. On a zone run, you always want to grab that shoulder pad. Right there, you see that right hand grab that shoulder pad, and you want to try to turn this guy. And then with that, you want to be able to like kind of flip your hips underneath that. So that's a good job right there by Guyton. And then he has the footwork and the speed that when this defensive lineman at this point is going to try to break the contact, Guyton's not going to let that happen. Right, he's going to just stay underneath this. That's a pretty good job right there. You're going to get another 5-yard run. Watch Guyton here reach number 42, the inside linebacker. Again, just a really, really good angle to be able to get underneath it. Now, the running back does kind of run right into the guy that Guyton's blocking, but that's just the flow of how this play worked. You guys can see on the front side, you're going to see Beebe's going to end up running in at number 94. That's going to kind of throw that pull that Beebe has right there. Right? Beebe's trying to pull, as is Zach Martin. 94 jumps that kind of disrupts the play. And on the outside, this play is not going to work, so the running back ends up cutting it underneath. And it's still a 6-yard gain, so it's a good gain regardless. But Guyton does a really good job with the angle, right? I love the angle he takes, right? It's a super wide angle, and he just gets right in front of number 42. You're going to get a 6-yard run here. Keep an eye on the center. Watch the center get all the way downfield and make a pretty nice block. Now, it's not a block that actually ends up allowing this to score a touchdown, but if the backside chase was not there, this would have potentially been a touchdown. So this is a really, really good job here by Beebe to be able to make a block downfield. You'll see the linebackers end up making the play. I would have loved for someone to be able to pick up number 58 here, but 58 does his job. He's the one unblocked guy. He's the one guy that they're not going to block essentially within this play. And he does a good job just kind of chasing it and not giving up on the play, because had he given up, this is a touchdown. Right? But again, great block by the center to be able to get out there. I know we didn't really talk a whole lot about Zach Martin and Terrence Steele, but generally speaking, those guys did a really, really good job. Cooper Beebe had a pretty good game, although there were a couple of things on tape that I think he needs to clean up. But overall, I feel like the offensive line did a pretty good job given the situation that the offensive line is in. Obviously, Tyler Guyton had his struggles, understandably so. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm not 100% sure the different format that I'm going to take with this channel going forward. Should I break down the entire offensive line? Should I do specific guys? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Would you guys rather see me just break down every single one of Cooper Beebe or Tyler Guyton snaps, or do you guys want me to just kind of break down the offensive line as a whole? Let me know down in the comments below. Thumbs up, subscribe. We are obviously going to be covering the Cowboys on this channel this year, and I will see you guys next time with another video.